Hello, friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Kahlo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
On today's episode, Jen explains the Pisces-Libra Eclipse of 2024.
Welcome to the show. Grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
So, Halloween is around the corner.
I know, we're already in September. We talked about that during our Unhinged, so if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do so. Some fun holiday anecdotes.
Yes, definitely. But if you are planning a Halloween party and want to take it up a notch, have it be a little more badass, consider hiring a tarot reader.
Nice plug.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I love doing events. People also like when I come to events, people are like, I've always wanted to do this, but I've never wanted to like pay for it myself, or like I've always been too intimidated. So yeah, if you want to have some interesting entertainment this year, shoot me a DM. We can work something out.
Yeah, it's really fun because, like you said, people have their guards down. I did a wedding with you, which was super fun, and you've done some private events. So
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Deja Vu, fun episode, huh?
It was.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I got some very interesting feedback, but the most comments like I received on a personal note was that there's just so many causes and reasons for it. So people had a fun time kind of choosing what they believe in the most. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting. I thought it was one of our better episodes for sure. But this week we're talking about a very specific eclipse because we've done eclipses before.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, and when you recommended this topic, I was like, well, I feel like we've already done it, but you're like, no, there's so much to say. So I guess every big celestial event, that might be a good episode to do.
Yeah. Really what inspired this is when you were dragging me being like, when are you gonna stop manifesting and like appreciate what's around you? Eclipse season is the perfect time for that. It is a hard pause where it's like, even though you want to, you can't. So at least for me in my practice.
And that's what we talked about during our eclipse episode, which was just kind of a general overview of what they are. And to recap from what I remember, they're basically like portals, right? Or accelerants. So if you want something done, it happens a lot faster, but you also don't want to manifest just because it's happening so fast, you don't want to mess things up, right?
Yeah, very good. Your memory serves you well. So it is a time that the sun and the moon, also known as the luminaries, are touching nodes, which are very specific points in the sky, and they cause these big energy portals to open, and things that are meant to happen a lot faster. You just get this big surge of energy in your life. So it can feel like really dramatic events, and sort of like when we talked about a little bit of portals last week with the Deja Vu episode. So even back in ancient times, like for example, like the Mayans, the Aztecs, like there are so many cultures that could predict eclipses because they worked on a specific celestial cycle, and they are linked to like the past, the present, and the future. So even I don't believe in past lives. I'm still not sold on past lives, but I do believe.
I've always found that interesting. That's like your hard stop. Like, you talk about all these things, and I think as far as like all the more wild concepts that we've talked about, past lives, like that's one I could kind of get on board with, and part of it is because you can't really destroy energy, right? So even when you as a human die, like you don't, like you're not gone completely, right? You break down or whatever happens, and so I'm sure there's like biological reincarnation where parts of you are newer living beings. So spiritually, I'm really surprised that's the one you're like, well, I don't really believe in past lives.
I just haven't heard any good like evidence for it or anything that makes sense to me. So just because I'm mystical doesn't mean I'm gonna be sold on everything. Like, I have a different kind of skepticism than David has. So yeah, in our Discord, actually, we have a little thread called Skeptics Corner, where we do have very engaging conversations of like, this doesn't really make sense to me. And it's very nice, very respectful.
Yeah.
Very demure, very mindful.
Very mindful. But getting back to this specific eclipse, since we've already did the eclipse episodes, you're kind of going to be the one explaining most of this episode. So this one particularly is called the Pisces-Libra Eclipse. So tell me a little bit more about that one.
Yeah, that's because these eclipses are going to be happening under the Pisces energy and the Libra energy. More specifically, the moon or the lunar eclipse is going to happen in Pisces, and then the solar eclipse is going to happen in Libra.
Is this one of those eclipses that we'll be able to like observe? Not really, right?
It depends on where you are on Earth. They're always observable. It just depends where you are.
They are. Okay.
The last eclipse cycle was definitely observable from the United States, specifically like the middle.
I remember that. Yeah, that was kind of a big event.
This time it's not. Otherwise, I would see 7-Eleven selling those eclipse glasses.
Yeah.
They're not jumping on board, so I assume not. However, the Pisces eclipse is happening at 7:34 p.m. on September 17th, so maybe you could see a little bit. But then the solar eclipse is happening at 11:49 a.m. October 2nd. So maybe.
Let me ask you something. Is it common for us to leave like a retrograde like we just did and go right into an eclipse, or is that like kind of uncommon?
It's just kind of random because they're all unique entities moving at like a specific rate. So sometimes they line up, sometimes they don't.
Would you say this last Mercury retrograde was kind of brutal?
Yeah. I think for us, because we're Leos, I feel like if you were another sign not so close to the Virgo Leo energy, then maybe it was like meh, because there have been some retrogrades where I was like, I don't even feel this, or something like super minor, like an email got stuck in an outbox or something, but like this one was kicking our ass.
So do you feel this is going to be kind of wild for us because we're leaving a retrograde and going right into an eclipse?
It depends on your specific astrology and your rising sign. For me, it will, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. But this is the first episode where I'm actually going to do a horoscope at the end for every sign. Yeah.
So you're really excited to share that. Just kind of backtracking a little bit with the Mercury retrograde, I've been rewatching House MD, and he actually made a reference, which was really funny. The elevators broke, and he asked like another doctor. He's like, "Wait, is Mercury in retrograde?" And he's like the biggest skeptic. So obviously he was making a joke, but I thought that was funny. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of like us." So super interesting. But all right, let's get into it.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, this is a hard stop for everybody, or at least it would be in your best interest not to manifest. I actually had some spell work to do for someone that requested it. I had to do it like literally under a specific lunation. I stayed up till like 11 p.m. because I was like, this is literally one of the last days before we're in the danger zone. Like, I have to do this. But right now is a good time to just appreciate what's around you, do like some check-ins of like what is working, what is not, how am I feeling.
I started like proselytizing your beliefs, because I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, I don't know what this means, but Jen said we're coming into eclipse season, so she said don't manifest, and they're like, oh, okay. And I've kind of gotten the like, what do you think about this astrological thing? I'm like, I have no idea. Even though we're married, like I still don't know.
But you're absorbing. Like, you could not explain an eclipse before.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just don't. It's very passive. It's somewhere in the brain now. It's just
slow osmosis.
Very slow osmosis. Yeah.
At least we're not knocking door to door. Have you heard about Mercury?
Have you heard about the eclipse season coming up?
The eclipses are coming. Anyway. Yes, so it's very exciting because the lunar north node eclipse, which is technically a full moon, like a super full moon, is happening at specifically 25 degrees Pisces on September 17th, 2024. It's interesting because if you have been listening to us for a while, all of these concepts end up merging, but a full moon is to release what no longer serves you. And under
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. But under an eclipse season, it's like extreme purging, like an extreme pruning of
Like
things.
spring cleaning, basically.
Yeah,
Get rid of everything.
Of a lot of things that no longer serve you. However,
Is that why you've been cleaning like crazy? I was out of town for a couple days and I come back. She looked like a little gopher just popping out of every hole. I was like, what is going on? And I think we've mentioned this, but our closet is very different. We share one big closet. My half is very nice and tidy and organized, and there's another half.
you're not mindful.
Yes. Is that why you've been cleaning a lot?
No, it's because of Virgo season. Because Virgo is organized.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You said this particular on September 17th is going to be like a crazy purge?
Yes, specifically wherever your natal astrology is in Pisces. So and we'll talk about you and me when we do all the horoscopes, because I have a rising, you have a rising. We'll talk about what it means specifically in a minute, but yes, it's this huge purge. However, it's interesting because it's touching the north node, which is to advance. So they're kind of flipped, because it would make more sense energetically for like the lunar eclipse to happen on the south node, which is sort of baggage and things in the past. But because they're flipped, it's kind of a cool cosmic event where it's like you can't have growth without pruning. It's sort of like, I think of the plant example of like eventually a plant can only grow so big because it has branches that are no longer serving it. And it seems counterintuitive, but once you trim those branches, then you get all this beautiful, new, voluptuous growth.
It doesn't, because it's still taking nutrients, but it's giving it's like dead nutrients, right?
Yep.
It's wasting energy for things that are already dead. Mm-hmm. So is it the same concept?
Yeah. There are some eclipses where if the lunar eclipse is happening in the south node, then it's just purging to purge.
No matter what.
Yeah. Okay. But this is like purging for growth, which is very interesting. Okay. So a lunar eclipse can only happen when the full moon is close to a lunar node. So that's what it means by node, which is one of the 2 points in the moon's orbit, which intersects the earth and sun's plane. So it's just coming into contact with like all of these energies. Again, the other luminary, which is the sun, and earth, which is us. So that's why it's like such an impactful event.
Got it. Okay.
And then the solar south node eclipse, which is again just basically a super new moon, is at 10 degrees Libra, October 2nd at 11:49 a.m.
Oh, so how long is this eclipse season?
Eclipse season is always about, give or take, like 4 weeks.
Oh, okay, so like a month.
Yeah,
and then
about a month.
I don't know if you maybe mentioned this, but when are we starting this specific eclipse season? What day?
The closer we get to September 17th, when the eclipse is actually going to start, the closer that we get to like the danger zone. I personally like to give like a week gap between like before and after eclipses, because
why were you rushing then that one night? Oh, because there was a specific moon you needed?
Yeah. Oh. I needed to do things under the Libra moon, and specifically the waxing crescent moon, which is for manifesting.
God, okay. So this episode, when is this episode releasing?
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday, which would be the today's the 7th. We're recording on the 7th, so are going to be
on the 11th.
On the 11th, we're not going to be in eclipse season then, right?
But we're getting really close. So energy is not a hard like start or stop. It's like a gradient.
Oh. Okay.
So the closer you get to like the middle point, the more concentrated the energy is. But I like to give a week so I don't monkey paw myself.
Got it.
That's just me personally. I like to play it safe, like a week before, a week after.
So today's the 7th for us, which is before the episode releases. But if for whatever reason we still want to manifest, or you wanted to manifest, you would still be able to do it.
I mean, I personally am just gonna stop now. But
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Just
that's,
me personally.
So that's a little over a week. You're just very cautious.
I am very cautious because I don't want to monkey paw myself. Yeah.
I think we should do an experiment. I think you stop manifesting, and I want to manifest like crazy this eclipse season. What do you think about that?
Go ahead. That's fine.
Okay.
You can play with it.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, so it's gonna be very interesting. And then you and I, so I'll go into our charts right now, and we're gonna go a little bit out of order because we're gonna start with our rising signs.
Okay.
But I'll start with you, baby.
All right.
So you're a Sagittarius rising.
Yes.
So this
Which you love reminding me of.
Yep. So this is going, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to affect your fourth house of family, of
Okay.
like immediate family.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's interesting. There's maybe something there that needs to be released, maybe like something emotional, something that like you've been afraid to say, or something that, yeah, just some sort of blockage in order to have like a better relationship with your immediate family.
Well, you're my immediate family.
Yeah, but that's closer because it's closer to the nadir, which is like the southernmost point in your chart. It's more about like your blood family that you grew up with, like your mom, your
okay.
dad, your siblings, things
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
So family time.
Yeah, family. A focus on family. And then there's going to
But
be
you said pruning. Does that mean I get to cut somebody out?
No.
Just like don't talk to me anymore. Don't call me.
Well, I love my in-laws, so I'm saying no, but you know what's best for you. No. But sometimes it could be like fear of, I haven't wanted to address this. I haven't wanted to say this. I haven't wanted to whatever. Sometimes it's just pruning the fear or pruning like a misunderstanding. Like it really, so you're going to feel it a lot more like the closer we are to eclipse season, but it's going to manifest across 6 months.
6 months now.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, okay. So the actual manifesting part, like you manifesting something, the danger zone is a month, but
Okay.
the impact of these eclipses, you'll feel it across the next 6 months.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's for my rising.
Yes. But then the solar eclipse is going to affect your 11th house, which is going to be extreme beginnings across like friends, community, sometimes social causes. If there's anything near and dear to your heart, like nonprofit wise or charity
We
wise.
talked about that during the birth episode, like the birthday episode, right?
Did we?
Yeah, when we went through all the like different generation, like 1 through 12, and then it resets. What concept was that again?
The houses or the progression?
Yeah, the progression. And you said this year's going to be some of that.
Yeah. So that's interesting based on like how old you are.
Yeah.
But then also the eclipse is playing on that.
Oh, okay. And I said I don't want no new friends, basically.
Too bad. The universe says that's too bad. You're gonna make some new friends.
I have enough friends. I feel bad. I don't make time for them, but okay. So, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So beef with family, but then get new friends.
No beef with family.
Okay.
You're going to get closer to them somehow, but there's something you got to work through first.
Okay.
Okay. And then for me,
Don't I have 3 signs though?
yes, but we're looking at it through your rising sign, which
Oh, okay.
dictates the order of your houses.
Got it. Okay.
And then for me, because I'm a Libra rising, there's going to be a big release in my 6th house. So any other Libra risings watching, this is also for you. So 6th house is the house of health, daily routines, things like that. So definitely maybe letting go of some bad habits, some like bad organizational skills, or just things that are no longer serving us like on the day to day to make our day to day a little bit better. And Saturn is transiting Pisces right now, and this affects everybody, but specifically for us, like this really feels like getting our shit together in 6th house topics. So that's going to be very interesting. So releasing any bad habits so that we can begin October 2nd with the solar eclipse to feel more authentically ourselves. And it will be Libra season at that time. So the sun will also be in the 1st house. So it's letting go of bad habits so that we feel healthier, happier, more authentically ourselves, because we're going to have that emphasis on the 6th house and the 1st house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for your rising.
Yes.
Okay.
That is because I'm a Libra rising.
Okay. And what's the other one?
What's the other one?
Because to me, you did my rising. You talked about family, but you talked about friends. So what's your? Oh, it's all under one.
No. So I'm releasing something to do with like health or daily
yeah,
routines
got it.
in order to make space for just like happiness within myself.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And being able to live like a more authentic life. Yeah.
Spiritual work is a lot of work.
It's a lot to consider.
I feel like at some point, just chill. Just lay back. If the stars are going to do something, let the stars do something.
I don't check my transits every day. Sometimes I do feel that way when it's like, I'm too lazy.
You are always on it.
Yeah. This is why sometimes like it's nice.
Overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, and it's nice to get like a second opinion from an astrologer because all of this is so confusing. There are so many factors to like look into. So
sounds exhausting.
It can be for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
Now we can jump into the rest of the signs, which I am excited for.
Before we do that, can you give people some tips though for this particular eclipse that's coming up? I know we talked about no manifesting, but is there anything people can do or get ready for, or anything they should be looking forward to?
I mean, limpias or like spiritual cleanses are great during this time.
Because this one's a very specific one, you said, right? Okay.
Well, all eclipse seasons are good for that, but specifically with the Pisces energy, a little more like psychic intuition, because Pisces is a very psychic energy of like, I really need to improve and let go in this area. So yeah, if you've been feeling like just kind of icky, like spiritually, whether you go to someone to do a cleanse for you or you just do it yourself, you can absolutely do it yourself, like with a spiritual bath or like burning some Palo Santo or however you like to cleanse yourself. It's a good time to do that.
So take the time to do like a spiritual cleansing. And I know we talked about meditation. Is this a good season to really ramp up that meditation?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And why would that be?
Because it's a good time to ground yourself and just be in the present and observing like, where am I?
Absolutely.
Am I happy here? Not focusing on how to fix it, but just like, what is my situation right now?
So a lot of reflection.
Journaling is another good thing to do during eclipse season.
I really like the idea of cleaning. I don't know if we talked about that during our eclipse episode, but the idea of cleaning, I mean, I like physical cleaning, but also and I don't believe in spiritual cleaning, but I think mental catharsis, just, taking inventory of like how you're feeling, how you're doing. We're a little past the halfway point of the year, right? But not by much.
Yeah.
June would be halfway.
Yeah, we're at 3/4.
3/4. So kind of see how you're going to end your year, right?
Yeah, that would be good. And especially because the first eclipse is going to happen in Virgo season and the second eclipse is going to happen in Libra season. But the first eclipse is the purging. Yeah, definitely if you want to do not spring cleaning, but just like a big cleaning of your like physical space, especially again if you're a Libra rising, that would be a great time to do so, because again, 6th house, daily routine, your environment, things like that.
And then one thing I did want to ask, I don't remember what episode we talked about it, I could be completely wrong, but is this a good time to also refrain from doing anything big, like a big purchase, a big vacation? Like, is there anything along the lines of you probably shouldn't do XYZ?
So my first instinct is to say yes, but I realize that life happens. You can't stop life. It's just more be mindful, be cautious, because we purchased our house during a retrograde and an eclipse, and I don't regret it at all. It was one of the best decisions of our lives. So if there are huge things that you absolutely cannot postpone, cannot stop, just go ahead and take that invite. Just like be a little more cautious, be a little more, realize
just
like,
wary of what you're doing.
Wary, is this what I really want?
Don't be impulsive, right?
Don't be impulsive. I think that's the word I was looking for. Don't be impulsive. Okay. But if no, I've thought about this. This is the right decision. Yes, definitely.
So just a practical example. Like, let's say if you need a car, would it be okay to get one in like these next 4 weeks? Or if you can postpone it, would you recommend postponing it?
I would say, again, it depends on your specific astrology. Like if you have a purging in your second house of finances, maybe reconsider it. But if you have a beginning in your second house of finances, you know, like it really depends
where you are.
Depends where you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but the biggest thing is not to be impulsive.
Okay, so don't be impulsive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes like during the solar eclipse, again, brand new opportunities, people might get a job offer, and like that's such beautiful timing. Again, it just depends. Like, what is your astrology?
And
saying?
on the opposite of that, like, don't quit your job out of frustration.
Yeah. I had to tell someone the other day during our walk-in at the Mercado, I was doing a reading, and they were like, I'm ready to quit. And I'm like, not during eclipse season. Like, hold up. Unless you get an offer, then it's like, duh. But unless,
Yeah, good reminder.
No rage quitting.
Got it. Good reminder. So now you're going to go into every sign, which is nice. So this will kind of fit for everyone.
I would say really read for or listen for your rising sign. However, I realize that it is a privilege to know your rising sign. Like if you were born in a country where they don't take, you know, the time, like the literal time, if you're in a situation where you don't have access to replace your birth certificate, or, you know, you don't have access to like your parents, things like that. So if you know your rising sign, great. But if not, listen for at least your sun, like the sign that you know, because it'll still relate somewhat.
But the rising is kind of
the rising is the most relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with Aries. So, hello, Aries. I am so excited to be doing these horoscopes and excited to start with you. So, there is going to be a big release in your 12th house, the house of mental health. Again, the release is September 17th. So if there's been something that's been holding you back, whether it's been like imposter syndrome, self-doubt, just something that is not limiting you physically, but mentally.
Just those blockers.
Just that mental block.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like a big weight off your shoulders starting in September and for the next 6 months, so that you may grow in your area of partnership. So if you're single,
get over your ex is what she's telling you. He's not going to call you back.
That is a great take. Absolutely. Yes. So there's something holding you back from connecting and beginning with other people, whether that's a love interest, whether that's like a better friendship, a business. Affairs are in the 5th house, not the 7th. Let me make that very clear.
Oh, the affairs have their own house?
I'm kidding, but if affairs were to be anywhere, they'd be in the 5th house.
God, okay.
But anyway,
I'm so messy that I'm living for. We just finished Love Island USA 2024.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, continue.
It's okay. You know what? This actually does fit into the advice. Yeah, if you're stuck over your ex, maybe you won't feel like stuck over your ex anymore, because you're going to have that release in your house of mental health.
Remember why they're an ex.
Remember why they're an ex. Absolutely. Yeah. Now going on to Taurus. All right, so you're going to have a release in your 11th house, which is the house of community and friendships. So have you had someone that's been a little bit messy, a little bit of an energy vampire, maybe a misunderstanding?
Cut that shit. Tell your friend to lose their number.
Tell them to get over it. No. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be as dramatic as like, yeah, I don't want that person in my life anymore. Or sometimes it's like, we've been giving each other the silent treatment. Oh man, we should like let go of our pride.
Let me ask you something, because it's not as dramatic. I feel like these are very like dramatic things. What about those friends where nothing's actually happened, but you're just in completely different places in your life? Like for example, like maybe like a high school friend that you kind of try to keep that relationship going, but you've just gone so far in so different directions. The only thing you have in common is like when you were friends. Is that a good time to maybe?
It depends on how much of a drain it is for you. Like if you don't mind seeing them as your mutual or whatever, like if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect you. But if it really for some reason gets to you to where you're just like, oof, I'd rather just not see this person again and not even like see their stories, their posts, their energy, nothing. Yeah, it would be a good time to actually
just block them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this will create a good new beginning October 2nd in your sixth house, which is the house of daily routine and health. So really, like, sometimes we can get really, really sick over just like some heightened emotions around other people. Other people affect us a lot more than, especially like with a Taurus rising, which is stubborn and like, I'm immovable. No, people can get to you. It's natural. We're a social species, and maybe getting this weight off your shoulders with your social life will allow you to feel a lot like happier, healthier, go about your business and be more productive. So
you're saying like bad friendships, bad relationships can have physiological effects.
yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I've seen people in the workplace have to take like mental health days because of relationships, because of friendships. Like, it happens, you know. I've definitely felt that before, where like if I had something negative happen with like a loved one, like a misunderstanding or something, like I feel sick. Like I can't be productive until I address it. That's me personally though. Yeah. All right, Gemini. Again, I love you, my misunderstood Geminis. You're going to have dramatic releases in your 10th house, which is the house of career, reputation. This is kind of a big one because it's creating a square with your rising, and squares are some of the most challenging transits. So this eclipse season might feel a little more dramatic for you, Gemini.
So you might get fired or canceled.
Hopefully not. I really don't think so. Most people do not carry themselves in a way to where they will get fired or canceled. Reflect on your actions. Don't do something that will get you fired or canceled. But this might be more like, you know, I realize that like I can't keep moving forward in this unhealthy environment. Like I just don't want to be somewhere that's gonna drain me like that. Or maybe you get an epiphany of like, who do I want to be remembered as when I'm no longer here? Like, am I really walking in my purpose? And then you realize I'm not
deep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, Geminis are, you know, y'all are usually very bubbly, like, it's fine, it's all good. But yeah, I think y'all are gonna get deep this eclipse season. I think you're definitely gonna feel a little bit of that reflection with your life. But it's going to also create great new beginnings in the house of pleasures, in the fifth house, which not an affair like David said, but maybe like your hobbies, your artistic musical abilities. Also, if you're single, this is like more casual fun dating. Also the house of children,
you could say hookups,
and then also the house of children, which, you know, kids are fun, so that's why they go in that fifth house.
Somebody's gonna have an oopsies baby. That's what I'm hearing.
Maybe. I think it depends. Well, you know what? Jupiter is going through Gemini right now. So Gemini risings are a little more fertile right now, I would say.
Yeah. Stock up on prophylactics.
Don't be silly, wrap your willy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting time. If you're
a Gemini, call us. We want to hear all.
We want to hear the tea of how this eclipse season is going to affect you. But at the very least, you might get to practice having a baby a lot.
All right. Well, with that said, let's move on into Cancer.
Hey, Cancer, my pure Cancer energies. Y'all cover your ears now. You're going to have a release in your ninth house, which is the house of, what is the word I'm looking for? Like long distance travel.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like long travel, long distance travel. So like international traveling, spirituality.
Adventures.
Yeah, adventures and lifelong learning. So if you're realizing that there is something that is holding you back in that area, like why am I scared to travel? Why, am I scared to get that advanced degree? Like, why am I feeling stuck in my spirituality? You'll sort of release that block. It depends on what's going on in your life, but the ninth house controls all of those things. And then you'll have some nice new opportunities October 2nd in your fourth house of where the solar eclipse is going to affect you with your biological family, or whoever you call mom, dad, siblings, whoever is close to you in that aspect. So maybe what I'm thinking is, if you have family members that live really far and you just haven't made the time to see them, you're gonna make time and make the opportunity to see them. That's just like one example. Yeah. So now Leo risings.
That's not us.
That's not us,
okay.
No. But because our sun is in Leo, we might be affected similarly.
Like trails of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or hit me.
All right. So there's going to be a release in your 8th house, which is a house. It's a different type of mental health. It's sort of like mental health around family, expectations of others, and society. So if you've really been feeling pressure of like, my family, my culture, whatever expects me to be this type of person, you might be able to come more into terms with, well, I'm not that type of person. I'm me. I'm not saying you're going to get over all of your childhood trauma in one eclipse season.
But more about living your authentic self.
You're going to get a little bit closer. And then there's going to be great new beginnings in your 3rd house of siblings, communication, and your neighborhood, and short-term travel. So sort of like staycation situations. So with letting go of those expectations and for you to fit in this perfect box, you might be able to connect more with people that are literally close to you.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, like neighbors.
Tell me your new neighbors, basically.
Yeah.
Bring them cookies.
Yeah, exactly. So then Virgo. So this is
Virgos. Virgos are quickly becoming one of my favorite signs.
Your favorite people?
Yeah, Leo's my favorite, but I really want to make a bunch of Virgo friends.
Also, if you're a Virgo, let us know, because we don't know too many Virgos. We want to meet more. That's like a goal for the rest of the year.
We want to meet all the Virgos.
Meet all the Virgos. Because the lunar eclipse of the releasing is happening around your birthday season, because the sun will still be in Virgo, you might feel this a little bit more. But you're going to have a release in the 7th house of relationships, whether that's like a literal breakup or just releasing something so that you two can get back into a state of harmony. There's going to be some sort of release, and then there's going to be a brand new beginning in your 2nd house of values, possessions, and just like literal day-to-day money, like your budget and things like that. Those two topics are not necessarily intertwined, but that is where the eclipses are going to be affecting you. So you're going to be really getting it from all angles, like the social and the financial.
Yikes.
Yeah. No, but you know what? They might get their money up because they're going to have the new beginnings in their 2nd house of finances. So
okay.
I'm excited for you. All right. And then we talked about Libra rising with me, but just to recap, release in the house of health and day-to-day activity. So just releasing things that no longer serve you, bad habits, whether it's for your health or like if you're unorganized and every morning are like, where are my keys? Why am I running late? Like, you might be able to tame that a little bit more so that you can live your best life and have that brand new beginning October 2nd in your 1st house. And if you're a Libra sun, that'll be in your birthday season. So this year might be a lot more interesting, a lot more happier for you. So
nice.
So for Scorpios, even though like in theory I'm not supposed to get along with Scorpios, I really love Scorpios, but you're gonna have a release in your 5th house, which is a house of pleasure. So now we're starting to see like the swap, where some people had beginnings and then some people are having endings, but you're having releases in your 5th house. So whether that's you're finally deciding like, I'm gonna narrow down all of my interests and just focus on this one thing at a time, or you're releasing something to where it's like, I haven't been able to do this fun thing for a while. I keep making excuses. Like, I'm gonna get rid of the excuses. And you're gonna have some brand new beginnings or insights October 2nd in the house of mental health in your 12th house. So maybe you'll feel comfortable finally addressing certain topics, or doing some self-study, like some self-help books, maybe reaching out to somebody, but you're going to be able to take one step closer to feeling better in your mind.
Okay.
Which I know is hard for you, Scorpio. Very, very hard, but you can do this. And then to recap, Sagittarius rising, just like David. So release around your 4th house, which is your blood family, whoever you call your parents, whoever was close to you growing up. And then you're going to be able to have this beginning in your 11th house. So even though David said no new friends, I think he's going to get some new friends in these next 6 months.
That's fine.
Not finally, we have a few more, but getting towards the end are winter babies. So Capricorn.
I like that. I've never heard it like that.
Yeah.
So Capricorn.
Well, Sagittarius is also a winter baby, but just because Christmas is Capricorn season. But anyway, so Capricorn rising. So you're going to have a release in your 3rd house, which is again the house of community, communication, siblings. Maybe you want to move because that dramatic release, you're releasing a community. That's something that I think of.
Yeah. So maybe if you're in that space where you're going to go to college, like you're deciding if you're going to stay in your hometown or accept the far away, that could be a good sign. Yeah.
And also a new beginning in your 10th house of career and legacy. Oh. So the perfect situation, if you're Capricorn rising going through this, I'm thinking is like you got a job offer, but you have to relocate. Yeah, if that's happening for you, it's definitely meant to be right now. Because there's that releasing of community, but beginning of career opportunity, new career opportunity. All right, Aquarius, my oddballs. I really like that. You guys are so true to yourself. So you're going to have a dramatic release in your 2nd house, and then which is the house of finances and values, but then a dramatic beginning in the 9th house, which is the house of lifelong learning, long-term travel. Maybe you're going to have to make some sacrifices.
That sounds like starting van life, basically.
For an Aquarius, not too far off. But what I'm thinking is like, do you have a goal either in the area of long distance travel or in the area of maybe like going to grad school or going to college or something? Maybe you have to make some financial sacrifices now to achieve those things later. That's one thing I think of. But yeah, if you want to be more dramatic and go nomadic van life,
that's a good time to do it.
Also, if you've been thinking about it, maybe think about it. Finally, Pisces. So you're going to have a release in your 1st house on September 17th, which is the house of the rising sign. It's like the rising sign dictates the order, dictates the 1st house, but also of how you process information and how other people see you. So maybe letting go of like, you know what, I can't control what other people think. Like, that's not my business how other people perceive me.
That losing that self-consciousness, maybe taking those steps because you've been scared of like how people are going to perceive you.
Yes, in order to begin just feeling a lot better and a lot more connected with your purpose, because you're going to have that traumatic beginning in your 8th house, which is the house of mental health. Maybe specifically this is a house that controls like ancestry and feeling close to your ancestors. So maybe you've always wanted to do some ancestral work. Maybe you've always wanted to dive into this tradition. Maybe you wanted to go back to your home country or where your ancestors are from and really get in touch there. Yeah, that might be interesting.
This is a good time to do it. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, hopefully y'all like these horoscopes.
I know people are going to be like biting their nails to listen to theirs. And again, just to recap, it's your rising is the most influential.
Yes, but if you don't know your rising, your sun is going to be pretty close too.
Yeah. And if you need help finding your rising, you can reach out to Genesis.
Yeah.
And on that note, if people do want to reach out to you this eclipse season or kind of want some guidance, how can they reach you?
Yeah, JenCallo.com or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at JenCallo.
Yeah. And our next episode is going to be Libra season, right? So we're kind of going from the big, like all of the signs into one specific sign.
Yeah.
So Libras.
Yeah.
I hope Libras are as interesting as Virgos, but I can't wait to find out.
I love Libras. They are very interesting.
And if you haven't joined our Patreon community, it is amazing. It is blossoming. We're doing these kind of like releases for our Patreon episodes, and they're pretty early. They started really early. They were like 7 a.m. And then we moved them back to 8. But it's people kind of like getting ready and putting it in the background. So if you're interested, click our link on our Patreon. And I also do want to recap, if you want to leave us a voice message, because somebody's like, wait, you can do that?
Yep. Yes, you can.
That is available.
Yeah.
Everything you need is in our link tree, which is in her bio at JenColo.com or at JenColo on Instagram and across all platforms. So, we'd love to hear your beautiful voice and just let us know.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off.